At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
This month, get 0% on all 2025 Ford F-150s, including Lightning, regular cabs, super cabs, and Super Duties, plus all Explorers and Escapes.
Stop in or shop us at buyabraham.com.
Lorain County Community College is where you'll lock in your future success. LCCC will get you prepared, get you credentialed, and get you working. Lorain County Community College. Your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cavs. For several years, you've heard me talk about EcoTree Services on WEOL. Recently, I needed trees removed, so of course, I contacted EcoTree. They did an incredible job. The folks at EcoTree were timely, efficient, and the work was flawless. Take it from me, when your trees need attention or even require removal, contact EcoTree Services. Like me, you'll love their work. Find EcoTree Services online at ecotreeservices.com. Fall is the season of change, and when things change in your life, be sure you have the best protection for what matters most to you. At the Cobos Insurance Agency, we're committed to helping you select the best insurance to accommodate the changing needs in your life. That's why Cobos recommends Ohio Mutual Insurance Group. Since 1901, Ohio Mutual has been keeping the promises that secure dreams. Find us online at CobosINS.com. We'd love to help evaluate your insurance needs and recommend the best coverage from the best companies like Ohio Mutual.
And good Saturday morning, and welcome to the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Wrap-Up Show. My name is Rob Polinsky, joined by Michael Keefe as we get kicked off the winter's edition of the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up program. I believe it's the next 13 or 14 Saturdays, Michael. You and I, or Rocco Nushi, or Jared Kozar, or Ron Yantz. It could be any combination of several different people. Will do the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show. Great to have you here on this first Saturday of December.
Yeah, listen, it's like a choose-your-own-adventure. Every week you never know what you're going to get, but we always are going to have a good time. And again, we're very lucky here in Lorain County, Medina County. We've got some great coaches that always are willing to join us here on the wrap-up show, and you're going to hear from a lot of them today, so we've got a great show planned.
And we're also blessed to have great sponsorship, and with that is our title sponsor. Again, thanks to the good folks with Nick Abraham, Buick GMC, and Nick Abraham Elyria Ford for once again sponsoring the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show. The show is also brought to you by Lorain County Community College, Cobos Insurance Center, Stewart's TV and Appliance, and by EcoTree Services. Well, this show is all about talking to coaches. It's all about scores. First thing up is we have the scores from Friday night, the first Friday in December, and it's kind of the first weekend that really boys basketball is kind of going in earnest. Yes, we do have state football playoffs this weekend, the championships, but for the most part, the focus is on high school basketball, and let's go through those scores. And boys basketball last night in the LC8, boy, the Keystone Wildcats opening eyes early on in this year, defeating Black River 85-51. We'll be joined by Jeff Holzhauer at 10:40 this morning. Elyria Catholic with a big win at the Coliseum last night. They defeat Amherst 68-66. Jason Smith will join us at 9:50 this morning to talk about that, and also a huge game tonight with the Bellevue Redmen. It's the Columbia Raiders squeaking out over Wellington 47-45. Josh Scharf, the head coach of the Columbia Raiders, joins us at 10 a.m. this morning. Speaking of close wins, how about in overtime? Oberlin over Firelands 45-44. Kurt Russell, the Oberlin Phoenix, will join us at 10:20. It was Brookside over Clearview 93-66. Clearview bounces, or I should say Brookside bounces back after their loss that we had on WEOL.com Tuesday over at North Ridgeville. Larry Babix will join us at 10:30. Menor defeated Lorain 90-63. Lorain goes to 0-2. We'll have Lorain later today on WEOL.com. That'll be at 5 o'clock as they take on the Elyria Pioneers and my alma mater. Sorry, Coach Januzzi, but the St. Paul Flyers defeat Open Door by a score of 75-56. Vico, we had more scores in the area as well.
I didn't sense you were overly sorry about that.
I talked to Alan yesterday, and I lied to him and said, Coach, I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, hey, listen, we got to keep everybody.
I lied to him.
Keep everybody.
I told him I was lying to him. He knew,
and it's fair. It's fair. Ongoing still in boys basketball, Gilmore took on Avon Lake last night. Gilmore got the win 69-50. Tough one for the Shoremen there in Avon Lake. How about a really good win for North Ridgeville against Nordonia, 58-51. We're going to have Coach Ben Chase on at 10:10 to talk about that win. Medina over in the Medina area. Medina takes down Shaker. A really good game there. Medina wins 66-58. The Buckeye Bucks take on the Bay Rockets and beat them 71-57. Brunswick and Euclid were in a good game until Brunswick kind of pulled away in that one, 71-59. Brunswick over Euclid. And to round out the scores in boys basketball, it was Brooklyn. Speaking of alma maters, my buddy Chad Meyer's alma mater, Brooklyn, takes down Cloverleaf 68-59.
Do they claim them?
Well, does anybody?
I was going to say, I don't know if that's good or bad news for the Hurricanes.
Sorry, Chad.
And Michael, if you've got some girls' scores here as well.
Yeah, let's get you to the girls' scores. Again, another coach we're going to have on, Coach Amy Esser from North Ridgeville. She'll be on early, 9:40. But North Ridgeville and Midview, what a game those two had. Two very familiar opponents. Ridgeville nips Midview by 2 points, 58-56. That is an awesome game. And again, Coach Amy Esser will be on at 9:40 to talk about it. Vermilion and Edison. Vermilion gets a big win, 58-40 in girls basketball over Edison. And Medina and Shaker, again, the boys played, and so did the girls. Medina won that one, running away 65-15 over Shaker.
In the state championships down at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, by now you probably know that on Thursday night it was Avon over Cincinnati Anderson 37-20. WEOL.com had that coverage for you on Thursday night. Yesterday there were 3 state champions crowned in the state of Ohio, and it was at 10:30 in the morning in Division 4. Ted Ginn, senior, gets his 3rd state championship for the Tar Blooders since 2022. They defeated the Shelby Whippets, who were appearing in the state title game for the very first time. Glenville 45, Shelby 7. In a battle of parochial powers in Division 3 at 3 o'clock, meeting for the 3rd consecutive time for a state championship, Waterston wins the rubber match. They blanked Toledo Central Catholic 30-0. And then late last night, it was Olentangy Orange, the Pioneers of Olentangy Orange, doubling up St. X 28-14. There are 3 games today to the final 3 games in the state of Ohio, and they're going small school today. So there should be good-sized crowds at Tom Benson Stadium. In Division 7 at 10:30 this morning, it is St. Henry against Hillsdale. Hillsdale making it to the state title game for the 2nd year in a row, and the good news for them, they don't have to play Maria Stein Marion Local. The bad news, they're still taking on a team from that conference.
Who beat Marion Local to get to this point?
I knew you would get there. In D6, it's just weird to have state champions where you don't have Marion Local and you also don't have Coldwater. And in D6 at 3 o'clock, it is Kirtland taking on Hopewell Loudon. Hopewell Loudon out in Seneca County, just west of Tiffin. And then tonight, the final game in Division 5. This should be a great one. Yes. 2 undefeated schools, 7:30 tonight. I tell you what, if I wasn't doing Elyria Lorain, I wouldn't mind just driving down to Tom Benson to watch this one. It's Wheelersburg taking on Liberty Center in Division 5 at 7:30 tonight. Hopefully today the scores and the games are closer than what we've seen so far.
Well, and I want to throw back to the very first game you talked about. We had that game on Thursday, Avon getting the state championship back-to-back. One thing you didn't mention there, but I want to throw it out there, our first guest tonight is going to be the head coach of the Avon Eagles. Mike Elder is going to join us in just a few minutes. As soon as Coach Elder pops on, we'll bring him in, but we're going to talk to him about that game. But huge congrats, obviously, to Mike Elder and the Avon Eagles. We'll talk all about that game. But, Rob, when you look at the games from yesterday, you're right. It wasn't a lot of great games. It was Glenville just doing what Glenville does. Ted Ginn Sr. gets the state championship. The game for me that was crazy was this Bishop Watterson game over Toledo Central Catholic. It's not crazy that Bishop Watterson won. That's what they are. But, again, they turned the ball over. Toledo Central Catholic intercepted Bishop Watterson 4 or 5 times in that game.
Wow.
And still got blanked 30-0 in that one.
You know, and I was watching the games yesterday on Spectrum, and, I'm still one of those dinosaurs that has Spectrum cable. So the good news of it is I get all 7 games, and when I get a chance, I try to watch some of them. And Bishop Watterson had a Belisari. I wonder if that's Steve Belisari. Is it his son?
Yep.
And, Toledo Central Catholic, Greg Dempsey, he's been there forever and had a heck of a program. The only thing that surprised me a little bit is they had 4 losses on the campaign. Now, I know TCC is in that new Toledo Catholic League, but that also includes, Detroit Catholic Schools, which I know next to nothing about.
They're amazing.
They must be. So, but point being, Watterson must be amazing as well to blank them and to just totally shut them down. And then Olentangy Orange, who I think, opened eyes across the state, especially this part of the state, when they blanked St. Ed's in the semifinal 28-0. Anybody that can do that obviously is the real deal. And Olentangy Orange gets their first state championship last night as well. But you know what, Michael, I don't know what you think about it, but I know over the last few years, if you look at the state championship games, a lot of times they're not close games. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean the best 2 teams in the state are facing off against each other. The way the system is, the way you play certain regions, and the way they, you might get better matchups in the semis, you might get better matchups in the regional finals. These are just the 2 teams that made it all the way. It doesn't necessarily mean they're always the best 2 teams in the state.
Yeah, and that's it's a great point, but it takes nothing away from the accomplishment.
No, absolutely not. No.
But listen, we know it here. We know it up here in Northeast Ohio. There are some teams from some conferences and areas up here that you think 2 or 3 teams could go down and win a state championship, and they wind up hitting each other in a regional final or even a regional semifinal. Our first guest, who I just saw pop in the background here, and we'll bring him in just a minute, but he could probably attest to that. They had some really big names on the schedule going through their region to get to the state final and the state final 4. And so, listen, you get to that point, you never really know what's going to happen in that last game. It's 2 teams that really never play each other from different parts of the state. But again, yesterday's games, some blowouts. Again, you got to give a little special shout out before we bring our guest in. Olentangy Orange win the football state championship. They're also boys basketball state champions from this past year as well. So that's a great year for them. But let's go to our special guest. Speaking of champions, the city of champions this fall, Avon, why don't you bring in our special guest?
All right, and without any further ado, Mike Elder joins us and talking about City of Champions. That's a great way to bring it. Now, 3 fall state championships, joining the boys soccer team, the girls volleyball team, Mike Elder and the Avon Eagles, once again, state champs. Coach, I guess we'll start there. Just congratulations on another tremendous run. And, oh, by the way, you also defeated a state champion in the regular season earlier, and they won it yesterday, Glenville, winning the state championship. And for those who didn't know, that was a win for you earlier this year. Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me on. And what a fall season for Avon. I'm just so abundantly proud of Mr. Frombach, Mr. Ryan, our entire athletic department, Mrs. Horikovic in that office. They're first class. Everything we do is first class, and it starts with the leadership in that office with those 3. Mr. Frombach, who hired me 19 years ago, and boy, am I glad he did, because it's been such a great run. And I really think about Coach Doré. He got hired as the soccer coach 19 years ago, and not normal that like the soccer coach and the football coach get along so well. And we do. We've been friends and we've pulled for each other, genuinely want to see each other do well. When we've been without a kicker, he's found me one. He's just a good guy and a great friend, and someone who I couldn't be more proud of. I told him last year when he congratulated me, you're going to get one. And little did I know it was going to be the next year. So I wish I could pick the lottery numbers like that. And then Chad Kaufman was the building principal at Avon when I got hired, and his daughter Kara was just a little girl at that time. And I remember her, and then she went on to play college volleyball and did a great job as a coach. And we hired her a few years back, and she's led our volleyball program to a state championship. So it's been an amazing fall, and it was culminated with our football championship, which I'm still on cloud 9 right now.
You know, you're right, and Coach Kaufman did a great job at Vermilion before she came to your place, you know, and taking them down to the state championship. I wanted to get to what you just mentioned, Coach Doré and you and Coach Frombach, he was a coach before he was the AD, Eric Frombach, all together for so many years. You know, that's getting rarer and rarer. And how important has that been, you think, in the run, not only for your team, but just for Avon Athletics and for what the soccer team has done? That, you know, as head coaches, you guys have been there for a long time.
You're right. Coach Dore and I have both done this for 19 years, and it is uncommon. I mean, you think about how long coaches stick around, and it's because it's exhausting. When you really look at the supplementals you get paid, you're certainly not doing it for money. You do it because you love kids, you do it because you love coaching. And it's hard to find folks that are willing to put all that time and effort in for the amount of pay you get. But again, I never did this because I wanted to be paid more money. I did it because I love it. And he does the same thing. And I'm sure Coach Kaufman's the same way. And when you keep a group together that long, it says something, and you have a chance, right? Because you're going to get better and better and better every year. And I always say fail forward. We've lost a lot of games along the way that were heartbreaking in nature, but you take lessons from it and you don't let it discourage you, and you keep moving forward. And eventually, people kept telling me, if you keep knocking at the door, it'll finally open up for you. And I don't know if I ever believed them, but it's opened up here the last 2 years. But with that being said, I got to be really honest. Like, the reward to me has always been the journey, not the state championship. That's a moment at the end, and it's a cool moment. I recommend it to everybody, and we've got to do it twice. But not one of those 19 years to me was any less important or any less successful, because it's all about relationships. And every single year, I feel like we've done everything we could with the group we've had.
Mike, your day job is with Avon Schools. So my first question to you is, did they let you take a sick day on Friday? Were you able to get a little rest Friday?
No, I was in school. I'll be honest, it was a lot of going around and saying hello to people and talking to people and accepting some congratulations, and obviously having an attitude of gratitude myself. But no, we had school, and I don't know. If I was the superintendent, and this is not a knock on Ben Hodge or Dr. Zoller, they got to do what they got to do. But I think if you win a state championship, the next day should be off for everybody. And I think our teachers would love that. So that would be a popular decision, because it's rare, right? It doesn't happen too often.
Yes.
But our boys and girls soccer team both won it on Sunday, and everyone was in school on Monday. So when you win it on Thursday night, everyone's in school on Friday. And that's just the way it is.
Coach, we talk about this game that I was lucky enough to be on the call with Tim Alcorn and Tom Evans down there. I know you ran into both of them, but 2 times in a row now, back to back, and just talk about how well prepared you felt going into this one, because it really felt like from the jump, your coaching staff, your boys were ready to go for this Anderson team. Again, it's a high-powered team, a team that scores 45 points a game. Nobody's really able to stop them throughout the course of the year. But you guys really felt like you were prepared. How much did last year's experience help you with that?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up, because it gives me an opportunity to just express my gratitude towards my coaching staff. And football's a crazy sport that, like, I know I'm the head coach, and I've said this since the beginning. You get way too much credit when things are going well, like right now. We've won back-to-back state championships, and I'll get way too much credit for that. But on the flip side, when things aren't going too well, you get way too much blame. And so I said, you got to balance this out, I guess. But I have the best coaching staff, and it starts on the defensive side of the ball with the head coach of our defense, Jared Cicchetti. He had his team ready. That unique offense is really hard to defend. Not only do they make you defend all 53 and a quarter yards of the field width-wise, the tempo in which they do it is absurd. And so thank God, if you guys have been at our games and you saw how many kids we played early on in the season and the depth we try to build in Avon, thank God that's our philosophy, and we try to get as many kids out there as possible, because we needed them all to stay fresh and to stand in there against that tempo that they play at. And on the flip side, we're trying to play complementary football, and my offensive coordinator, Lee Powell, and pass game coordinator, Brendan Leister, and run game coordinator, Jim Mulgrew, those guys did a remarkable job as well, making sure that we had things that would move the ball, schematically create an advantage, but also try to take some time off that clock, or else we'd still be playing. I mean, if we went fast, we'd still be playing in that game. So I felt like my coaching staff left no stone unturned. They worked their tails off because they love these kids. And I thought they all came up with a great game plan to put these kids in a position to succeed.
Mike, we heard so much about the Anderson, offense, and rightfully so. But was the difference in the game your offensive line getting the push that you did most of the night? And it just seemed like you basically could run the ball anytime you wanted. Obviously, you had great balance with your son throwing 4 touchdown passes. But was it the offensive line and what they were able to do and accomplish? Was that a big advantage? And did you kind of know that going into the game that maybe Anderson defensively would have a hard time kind of matching up with you guys on offense?
again, that's where you have to look at the film and evaluate it. And to answer your question, Rob, yeah, we thought that would be an advantage. You don't know until you get into the games, right? And by the way, when the defensive line or the offensive line of the opposing team does have an advantage, there's things schematically you can do to try to counter that. That's the things we learned throughout those heartbreak losses to Akron Hoban, where they were just physically outmatched us a few years. But you can stunt, you can move, you can slant, you can do things. So until you get into the game, you don't really know. But I will tell you this with 100% certainty: our offense and defensive line and the rest of our team. I don't want to just point and shine the light on just one group, but they are the reason we are state champs, because I thought we were more physical in the trenches on both sides of the ball. And no matter how you try to sugarcoat it, and don't care who you're playing, every time the team that is more physical will generally win the football game. Not always, but generally will win it.
Yeah, and that doesn't matter if it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I don't think some things don't change. Coach, I was wondering, um, can you compare the feeling of last year winning it for the first time, this year again doing it? Is it the exact same feeling? Can you compare the two teams a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to compare teams. Heck, my kids call me from college all the time, former players, and they'll be watching Ohio Sports Net clips and videos, and they'll call me up and say, "Which team was better, 17 or 19?" And
Oh,
they want answers, and they never get it. That's like if you have kids and them saying, "Who's your favorite child?" Like, you can't say that because you love them all. But what I will tell you is, last year was extremely special because there was a first behind everything, right? There was a first time beating Hoban. There was a first time winning a state championship, and that is so special. And that group of kids was so special. And certainly, I thought that was an exclamation point, not just for that team, but for every alumni who ever fell short. We felt like that really was like for everyone who ever poured into this thing, believed in it, and couldn't get it done. We felt that way. This year's team, a different story, different journey. It came with expectations and pressure that sometimes, if not managed right, could be unhealthy for teenage kids. And I could see
yes.
it in their eyes at every position. They just didn't want to let them down. And I needed to get them to understand all year long that not winning a football game does not mean you're a failure at Avon. Like, we're going to do everything we can starting January 5th to win it next year. But if we don't, that group is not going to fail. We are going to learn everything we need to learn through the game of football. And our why has never been just the championship. And so this year, we lost in Florida early. There was a lot of criticism throughout the season of how we were winning. Were we winning by enough when we were playing teams? Crazy things that you just shouldn't have to deal with as a teenage kid, but it happens when the weight of expectations are on your shoulder. So for this group, it was just a story of like just extreme ownership, everybody wanting to do their part, not to let each other down. And to win that final game was just remarkable because you have a target on your back and it's big. And they know that, and they've worn it every single game, and they've worn it with grace and humility. And it was just a cool moment. So neither one was better than the other, both special moments. But if you ask me, back in 2007 when we went 6-4 in my first year, that was a special moment. And because we got this thing in the right direction and flipped it with the hard work of some kids. So they're all cool and unique in their own way.
Coach, just you talked a lot about motivation and the kind of the theme and the path for this year's team, and I think it'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up and ask you how this ultimately plays in. But obviously, last year one of the members of that inaugural championship team was Jeremiah Kelly, and obviously we lost him in April, and just a tragic moment and one that you've been asked about a lot, but you always want to keep his memory alive. I think the stickers on the helmet, "Live like Jeremiah Kelly," is an incredibly powerful statement that gives me goosebumps every time I think about it. And to be honest with you, we got to the end of the game, we were doing the broadcast, and we were talking about, man, it looks like these boys right now are living like Jeremiah Kelly. And so just talk about what impact that had. You carried his jersey around this season. Obviously, the boys paid honor and tribute to him all season long. But how much were you thinking about Jeremiah during points of this run?
Well, it was interesting. I got on the bus right after the game, and that's one of my favorite moments as a coach, is riding the bus home and after the game, because it's just that's that half hour where me as a coach, I'm not thinking about anything but like what just happened. And I remember that bus ride a year ago with Jeremiah and his teammates, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
But
obviously.
but this year, I get on the bus with those kids, and the first thing they said was, "Hey, we scored 37, and backwards that's 73."
Let's go.
So so these kids were thinking about him immediately. And when you say live like Jeremiah Kelly, it matters. It means something. And we missed that kid. Sorry.
No,
No, Coach.
We get it. Believe me.
Coach, you guys, there's somebody smiling down for sure. That's we were talking about that when we were watching you guys play, and certainly you could tell how much it means. My last question for you on the football side, Coach. A lot of times people will ask what makes this Avon team so special. For those of us that get to watch you and have the privilege of watching the team and run to championships and all that, and you look for, when you go on runs the way you guys have done, you look for things that set identity. And I want to take it back. You want to talk about your team as a whole, but I want to take it back to the semifinal game. I think there was a moment in that game that I think really embodied what your team is all about. And I'm going to call out one specific player, but your semifinal game got off to a really bad start. It was an opening kickoff return for a touchdown. And then it was Caden Clapham who caught a pass, nice big gain, fumbled it, gave the ball right back to Walsh. And then I think after that, Coach Elder, and I think this embodies what Avon Eagles football was all about this year. Caden Clapham, I think, wound up being one of the MVPs of that game. Obviously, he had the 98-yard touchdown interception return, but that was just the one big play. He had about 12 big plays in that game. Offense, defense, nothing bothers your guys. Nothing gets them out of their rhythm. You have to play perfect football to keep up with the Avon Eagles. Just talk about, I don't know if that's something you guys talked about with just, you made a mistake, but then you became one of the best players out on the field. Seems like you guys have just done that over and over and over again this season.
Yeah, I mean, we talk all the time about every play having a life of its own in Avon, and we mean it. Like, if something good happens, you got to play the next play. If something bad happens, play the next play. And we talk about it being extremely selfish to hang your head and to pout or worry that you made a mistake. It's human nature. People are going to make mistakes and they're going to hang their head. That's the normal reaction. We have to be abnormal when it comes to that. And if something bad happens, you have to be ultra focused to say, "Hey, what did I learn from it?" and move forward. And that's not just in football. I mean, that's a lesson in life, right? We're all human beings. We're all flawed. We're going to make mistakes, and you got to learn from them, and you got to move forward. And you just got to try to be a better version of yourself the next moment. And so, in football, what a cool lesson. When something doesn't go well, play the next play. And I told him, if you string together a series of these things for 48 minutes, you got a chance to do something special, because there's a lot of talent in this room. And Caden Clapham, obviously, on that play, that was big. That was a huge play in that game, because we all know that it was 7-7. It was going to be 14-7 them, and instead it's 14-7 us, and that's a 14-point swing. And I'm not saying we don't beat Walsh Jesuit without it, but we certainly don't get it to the point where it was a running clock. It just snowballs on people and comes at you fast, because when we get momentum, our team's really good at riding that wave.
Coach, my last one for you. First off, thanks. You always send the media guide over, and I always look at it. I always like looking at it after your last game, and I just kind of look back and I look at your captains, I look at your expectations, I look at this, that, and the other. For those people who don't know, who don't get to see this, your 2025 goal said this: win your 10th straight SWC championship. Check. Qualify for the 16th straight football appearance. Check. Win our second state championship. Check. The last one, team GPA greater than 3.5. Can we check that box as well, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely can. Yeah, we just sent that information. We just sent that information to the Ohio High School Football Coaches Association, where we'll be getting some recognition again. So we're extremely proud of that. These are student athletes, and I'm so proud and happy that we get to coach great kids.
When people ask me about you and your team and what makes it different, the first thing I always tell them is, in today's day and age, that you guys run out there 80, 90, 100 kids, whatever the heck it is. You've got double numbers. And for people that don't follow you, sometimes announcers can say the wrong kid because they see double numbers. They don't see it at the high school level. But because of those numbers, you have kids that go through your program that we don't talk about, that don't get written about, that aren't on the field as much as they would like to be. Is there a story or a special kid or two in that group this year, or that maybe we wouldn't know that you want to talk about? A kid on the scout team that maybe you got you prepared for an Olmsted Falls win or a Walsh Jesuit win, or whatever the case may be, and how special and how unique that is. And I think that's what separates you guys from other teams that you get everybody to buy in?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many names that come to the top of my head, and so I certainly don't want to leave anybody out. But I think what I would talk about more importantly, we have a roster of 107 kids. It's we got together after the state championship game, and we were celebrating with my coaching staff. And Coach Powell had already done next year's roster, had it ready, and said we're sitting at 125 right now on the roster now. Kids will have to meet the requirements to be on our football team. We don't cut, but by all means, we're going to demand a lot from these kids. And so a lot of times it'll shrink a little bit because kids will choose not to be part of the program because it's a lot of work. But right now we sit at 125 for next year. But if I had to pick out some folks that I'm so abundantly proud of, it's first off Alex Rivera and Mason Hauk. These are two seniors that Alex got hurt at the Glenville game after he was a starter every game last week, but he didn't disappear from this team. He believed enough in the brotherhood that he kept showing up and come to practice, be at all the games. And then Mason Hauk was in the same boat. You know, his brother Max, they're twins, gets to play and go throughout this entire journey. And unfortunately, he was a guy that was going to be a rotational lineman for us and had a shoulder issue that just prevented him from being able to play, although he tried his heart out. And then Jacob Witherspoon after week 9, you know, he's a kid that's on his way to North Carolina, could have been selfish, could have disappeared from the team. He's going to be fine. You know, he's got some medical things that he'll be great by the time he gets down to North Carolina. He'll be healed up, but it took away his entire playoff run, and he's kept showing up. And so the brotherhood's more important than the actual games on Friday night. And I think those 3 seniors who were injured but kept showing up are shining examples of that.
Coach, thanks so much. Congratulations. Enjoy a little downtime, whatever that means for you. You know, just again, thanks for having us as part of the ride. It's always a thrill watching you guys enjoy what you've done.
I appreciate it. I just want to end with thank you for asking about Jeremiah. I'm sorry I got emotional, but
No, thank you.
Clearly, you know, his brother texted me right after that game too. His mom texted me. Josh is on the team, and that family's so special to me. And we miss Jeremiah every day. And I promise you guys, it's just not lip service. When we say live like Jeremiah Kelly in Avon, it means something.
We get it.
And
Thanks.
you guys are certainly doing that. Hey, Coach, last thing for me. Blake gets one extra Christmas present this year, okay?
Yeah, he's gonna get a few extra. I'm really proud of him. My goodness, that guy! What an outstanding state championship performance, and he's a cool customer. But we're gonna get him 4 extra for every touchdown pass.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that's Coach Mike Elder. We're going to take a very quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be joined by the head coach of the Elyria Catholic Panthers ladies basketball team, Coach Eric Rothgary. All that and more. It's the Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show presented by Nick Abraham right here on WEOL.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
This month, get 0% on all 2025 Ford F-150s, including Lightning, regular cabs, super cabs, and Super Duties, plus all Explorers and Escapes.
Stop in or shop us at buyabraham.com.
Cut that one short.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
And we're welcoming in Eric Rothgary, the head girls basketball coach of Elyria Catholic. Eric, thanks for your patience there. We went a little over with Mike Elder, but I think you can understand that. A state championship guy can talk a little bit. You know a little bit about state champions, 1980 grad of EC. It wasn't too much longer after you graduated that your Panthers had back-to-back state championships. And I know you're a football guy, so if you don't mind, what's it feel like did you ever think in your mind another Lorain County school, even though it's been 40 years later, would have that ability and win back-to-back state titles?
No, that's pretty crazy. That's obviously very hard to do. When EC did it, I had a brother on the team, and I made it to both those games. One of them I had to fly home from California. I was in the Army for the 84 game, and it was crazy. They were loaded. That was probably, the most talented EC ever had on those teams. Fun to watch. I mean, listening to, I've been listening to Coach Elder the whole time there, and it's certainly a pleasure to listen to him. I think the longer you listen to a guy like that, the better coach I can become. He's done one heck of a job out there at Avon, and I don't think I don't think he gets enough credit for everything that he's done out there. It's fantastic.
Eric, that's an interesting point. As a coach, in girls basketball, I don't care what sport it is, can you learn things from other coaches, glean things, pick things up, whether
Yes.
it's pro, college, high school, boys, girls, different sports? Are you able to do that? Do you do that?
For sure. I mean, it's not the X's and O's. It's how you coach the kids. It's how you treat the kids. It's just trying to make them better players, whether it's basketball, football, or shuffleboard. You're just trying to make them get the most out of themselves, and that's how you succeed in coaching, I think.
See, he knew our athletic abilities right there.
Well, I think what he knew was
something Rob could relate to.
Well, I was going to say he knew my age, and Eric Rothgary is one of the rare guys that actually is older than I am. So I think he was. I don't know if that was a shuffleboard challenge there, Coach, but I'm ready.
I played a little bit on the last cruise I was on, so it was kind of fun.
Hey, let's shift gears to your team. Tell us about the start of the season. I know you've had a really difficult schedule to get started. You went with Bellevue, who, if I'm remembering this correctly, they're either one-time or two-time defending state champs. You went over there. Just kind of tell us about the start of the season, how things are going for the Lady Panthers.
I feel we're on the right pace. I always say you don't want to peak too early. We went out to Bellevue there, the reigning state champs. They've got a 6'3", Division I commit. They've got a really nice point guard. They probably got the best freshman in the state of Ohio. So we knew we were going to have our hands full. And we, not make an excuse, we got a little late start because of our volleyball team. And the success of our volleyball team this year. And, we at Elyria Catholic, we have a lot of 2 and 3 sport kids. But we went out there and, our goal was just to go play hard and start building an identity of being tough, outworking your opponents. And we did a good job. I mean, we lost by 12 out there. We weren't, you always want to go out and win, but we were satisfied with the effort. And then we were at Orville and then at Brunswick. So we've had 3 straight road games. And today we get Chippewa at our place. And, it's Chippewa. We've had some great games in the past with them, regional finals a couple of times. And that's a really good program out there. So our non-conference schedule this year is really tough. But I think it's going to prepare us. We got, some tough teams in our conference and hopefully can make a decent playoff run.
Coach, a successful season, every game matters and you have to get everything focused right from the beginning. Obviously, you go out and play that really good Bellevue team that has so many good players, Division I talent, like you said, one of the best freshmen in the state of Ohio. The message, though, after that game must have been, well, I'll let you tell us what it was, because then your ladies bounce back and you get 2, not just wins, but 2 double-digit victories over Orville, your last game over Brunswick. But it's an impressive bounce back after playing a tough game to start the year. What was the message in the locker room after that game?
Well, the message was, they did what we want as the coaching staff, what we wanted them to do. Again, it's, you're early in the season, you're trying to build an identity, and our identity has to be toughness, play hard on every play. So that's just kind of what we're emphasizing in practice is play hard on every play. And we've got some kids with some experience. We've got some size. Of our starting 5, 4 kids started a lot of games last year. Gabby Rodriguez and Soph Nieders have started, I think, every game last year. Juliana Cerny started a bunch of games. Ari Demakia started a bunch of games. And then the 5th starters, Claire Petrus. Claire played a little on varsity last year. The way she played in JV games last year, I think she was trying to embarrass me for not playing her more on varsity. Claire had a 37-point game in a JV game, and I was like, okay, now that's how you send a message,
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've got a really solid starting 5. The goal now is building depth, and we have, a number of juniors that played well on a pretty darn good JV team last year. So we're working them into to playing time. We got Riley Treadway, Alina Bray, Trinity Messinger, Nicole Bevier. So those are 4 juniors that played a lot last year on JVs and did well. So we're working them in, and then we got couple of freshmen that are dressing varsity. One of them is our boys coach's daughter, Lila Smith, and she's going to be a 6-footer. And if she's anything like her dad was as a player, we're really looking forward to see what she can do.
Coach, you talked about some goals as far as building depth, but I'm gonna do a follow up from that interview we did with Mike Elder, and I know you were there for pretty much the whole thing, listening to that. But we talked to him about his preseason goals. So obviously, you guys will have goals as far as on the court, winning, goals as far as postseason and how far you want to go in the conference and all that stuff. But we also heard Mike Elder talk about some off the field goals as well. So why don't you give us a look inside your coach's brain as far as your ladies there with the Panthers? What's an important goal for you kind of off the court for your team this year?
Well, it's always nice that your kids do well in the classroom. And I honestly, in the 18 years I've been the head coach at Elyria Catholic, we've never had to worry about that. I mean, we've had just stellar students, on our team, and we've got the same this year. Number of top students in their classes and National Honor Society type kids, and so we don't really have to worry about that off the court stuff with our kids. They're really, really good quality kids from good families. We just, actually this year we've got one of the best groups of kids that I think I've had, as far as, what kind of people they are. So that makes coaching a lot easier.
Eric, I see you're playing Chippewa today, and I'm thinking to myself, is this late February, early March? Are we supposed to be going to Cuyahoga Falls and playing at like 1:30 for a trip to state? I mean, what the heck is this?
I mean, you look at our schedule this year.
You're trying to confuse me. I don't need the help.
It seems hard to get non-conference games anymore. So
why is that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Sometimes, there's a lot of schools out there that don't like to play private schools. I think that might be part of it. We go to Massillon and play Massillon High School this year. We go to Massillon and play Massillon Perry, which that's actually a little more Canton, I think. So we're doing our non-conference schedule. We got Chippewa here, but most of it is traveling. I mean, we do play Avon over at Berea Mid Park over Christmas, so that's at least a good touch of playing a local team. It's just harder to schedule games, and I'm not exactly sure why. I think part of it is the playoff, the way that you get seeded now. People are taking strategies to who they're going to play and, who can get them more points, and there's a whole bunch of different stuff.
All right. Well, Coach, congratulations on a good start to the season. Best of luck today as you have your home opener at the Coliseum. I'm assuming that's this afternoon?
Yeah, the JV's 11:30. Varsity should be at 1:00.
All right, sounds good. And best of luck the rest of the way. I'm sure there'll be more Saturdays we have you on. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Coach.
Let's pivot to another girls basketball coach, and let's go over to North Ridgeville. We'll bring in Amy Esser. She should be in a good mood this morning, as last night she got a win over her rival, the Midview Middies, 58-56. Coach, let's just start there. Tell us about that ball game last night, and how fun was it to play a Friday night girls varsity game? It wasn't a boys game. You guys were a standalone varsity game yesterday with those two rival schools. Tell me about the atmosphere, and congratulations on your win last night.
Thank you. It was just, I'll tell you what, it was a great crowd. We brought a really good crowd, our student section. We had our youth kids there. So it was definitely almost like a playoff atmosphere, which is what you want for a rival game. And it's almost like that's why you like the Friday night games, because you're going to get a crowd.
And what was the difference last night? 2-point game. I'm sure there had to be some white knuckle moments in that one. Tell us about it.
I think our girls they clamped down in the fourth quarter. We know we're a fourth quarter team, that if we're going if we're going against somebody and we're close, we know how to close out games. We've been in 3 other close games this season. So, but Brooke Schroeder nailed this 3 at the, with just, ice in her veins, with about 3 minutes left, and it was put us up 1, and we held it from there. So just great shot by her, and then finishing around the rim at the end and at the free throw line.
Coach, we've got an incredible lineup of coaches, both girls and boys basketball, that we're going to be talking to today. But most of them are coming into this interview with us, having seen their team maybe twice, maybe 3 times. The North Ridgeville Rangers have played. Your Lady Rangers have played 5 times on the year. You've got a good look at your squad to start this year, and not only have you guys played 5 times, but 5-0 to start the year. It's been a great start for your program. I will say my hometown, where my kids go to school at North Ridgeville. It's been a great start. So just tell us about your program, the way the season has started, and what kind of boxes that you have as a coach that these girls are checking as they win these games.
Coming into the season, we went with a little bit different approach. I really just the preseason we had a lot of our girls. We only missed a couple for fall sports, so we just ran the crap out of them. We knew the type of team we wanted to have this year. We knew what we had. We have 6 seniors. Actually, we have 7 seniors. One tore her ACL, so she'll be out for the year. Then I have 6 underclassmen. So we round out 12 on our bench. We bring a lot of experience, quickness, just. We have posts, guards. We have a little bit of everything. So we know if we can be in really, really good shape, we can run the floor. We can use our bench that we could, hopefully run teams off the floor by the fourth quarter. And we've just been wearing teams down. I think that's what's been our trademark of success for the beginning part of the year. Just staying with teams. As a coach, they want to give me a heart attack because they like to keep them close, but. They actually apologized to me after the game for giving me a corner, as they should. But there's a lot of leadership and also there's a lot of leadership in our locker room with 6 seniors. You have two juniors and Lauren Bohannon and Brooke Schroeder, who are just having a heck of a start of the season. I mean, they're both averaging, over 13 a game, and just the leadership that they bring on the floor in the locker room and what they've done this off season to improve their games. Brooks finally, I feel like, back to 100% from her leg injury or knee injury from a year and a half ago. And Lauren is she's got to be one of the best players in the county, if not the area right now, with what she's scoring. She had 20 and 15 yesterday. And then you bring Raina Balderas, who's one of the most prolific shooters, in the area, off the bench, and she just comes in and she's an instant threat. There's just a lot of different things we're doing really well, but they're not satisfied. They're not happy with these close games. They know that they got to do better.
Well, we talked about coming off of a kind of a rivalry game, a team so well in the Midview Middies. Now you've got actually a couple days, 5 games to start the year. You get a couple days to take a break here before your next game.
Monday.
Oh, is it Monday? Well, that's a couple of days. It's a couple days from your last one. You get a couple days.
We front loaded ours. I don't know about a couple. Yeah, I mean, I'm literally in the background of this as the scout for the next game and film, and I'm like in here early in the the locker room trying to get ready for film for the next game. So it's a constant. Like we have 2 Monday games coming up, which 3 games in a week is tough, but we're going 11 games before Christmas, so
yeah.
Bring it. It's fine.
You get the ever elusive Ranger matchup coming up. You're going to play Lakewood next. So what do you know about the Lakewood Rangers? And
I love Julie. Julie does Julie does a phenomenal job over at Lakewood. She's always has fundamental kids, great kids. She's a great coach. It's always a good matchup with us. It's always fun. So we're excited to see the battle of the Rangers Monday.
Coach, I didn't realize your schedule was as packed as it is. Playing literally half your regular season before Christmas, from your standpoint, do you like that, and that you're going to have practice later? Would you rather have more practice time now and that hectic of a schedule later on in the regular season? How do you approach that?
So I feel like this is probably the first. I'm not sure why we did it, but I think it just worked out the way it worked out. We have 14 days off over Christmas, which is either going to be good or bad. It's not that we planned that; it's just how it turned out. The front loading of the schedule is actually, I think, in our favor. I think we're playing really well right now. I think we can, be successful in those first 11 games, and so. I also feel like you start wearing down at the end of the season, so we can space it out at the end of the season and get kids, like Schroeder and Bohannon, like some rest and whatnot. And we have a couple other kids that battle injuries all the time, and sickness. These kids are always sick. I can tell you that. Sneezing, There's just tissues everywhere. Oh man, Christmas time, But I think that rest at the end of the season will help us, and a couple extra days off as it starts to wind down. 4 months is a long season, so.
Yes.
I kind of like the way we set it up this year.
Well, and I would imagine it's also, you've mentioned that you've got a veteran group and you got 6 or 7 seniors. I
Mhm.
would imagine if you were a younger group, maybe this would be more difficult. Since you've got a group of leaders and older kids, maybe that makes this a little bit easier.
Yeah, and I think our girls are used to quirky schedules with Friday games. We had a Tuesday game versus Columbia. We'll have a Thursday game at the end of the season. So I also feel like it's good for them to not get comfortable and have, well, this is a set like in every Wednesday, Saturday, every Wednesday, Saturday. So I like throwing a little bit of curveball in there. They also like the Friday night games. And so, like, having a Monday game, it's nice to have that Friday game so you do have the weekend to prepare,
Right.
get some shots up and whatnot. So throwing those in there every now and again is actually really nice.
All right. Well, Coach, we'll let you go and appreciate the time. And thanks for telling us you get 2 weeks off at Christmas, so we expect presents. I mean, there's no reason Amy Esser can't be out there Christmas shopping this year when you get 2 weeks off. Can I give you my list? Maybe you can,
Sure.
get a couple things for me.
Send it over. I got Ohio State. We'll get you some Ohio State
That's
stuff,
not on my
maybe.
list, Coach. I wasn't
No?
going to go there. No, you went to a Catholic high school and
I
you're
did.
wearing that stuff today.
It's
But
really,
that's on you. Like they need,
I'm with you.
like
I'm with you. I'll take it.
You know what? They need more fans. They don't have any fans, so you're right, Amy. Go ahead and support them. Great to have you.
All right, thanks for having me. Take care.
And that's Amy Esser, head coach of the North Ridgeville Lady Rangers. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to get back to the boys coverage, and we'll go back to EC. As Jason Smith had a huge win over the Amherst Comets last night. We'll talk to Jason about it right after this timeout on the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show on WEOL.com.
At Nick Abraham Buick GMC, we offer the greatest customer experience around, plus upfront, no haggle pricing and great deals. Right now, lease the 2025 GMC Sierra for just $339 a month. Stop in or shop us at buyabraham.com.
Lorain County Community College is where you'll lock in your future success. LCCC will get you prepared, get you credentialed, and get you working. Lorain County Community College. Your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
Fall is the season of change, and when things change in your life, be sure you have the best protection for what matters most to you. At the Cobos Insurance Agency, we're committed to helping you select the best insurance to accommodate the changing needs in your life. That's why Cobos recommends Ohio Mutual Insurance Group. Since 1901, Ohio Mutual has been keeping the promises that secure dreams. Find us online at CobosINS.com. We'd love to help evaluate your insurance needs and recommend the best coverage from the best companies like Ohio Mutual.
And welcome back to the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show alongside Michael Keefe. My name is Rob Polinsky. We're joined by Elyria Catholic boys basketball coach Jason Smith in the second year back as head coach of the Panthers. And Jason, a great start to your season. I believe you've won 3 games, and to my knowledge, haven't been beat yet. I'm sure you can correct us on that, but we've got you down at 3-0 and a big one last night at your place when you defeat Amherst 68-66. My first question before we get to last night specifically, when I was reading the preview article in the Chronicle Telegram, Purvis Smallwood, said that, the start of last year was tough. You guys but you had a great end of the season. And I was wondering, can momentum from the end of one year go into the next year when you've got a lot of those players back? Do you think the run that you had at the end of last year has anything to do with this good start?
Momentum's tough to carry over a whole summer like that. We did have a strong summer, had a lot of good buy-in from the guys. But I think what the end of last year proved to us is that, we do have a good squad. We do have good guys. If we just can get them bought in, running what we want to run, playing together as a team and as a family, this team can, sky's the limits. And I think that's what the buy-in over all summer has been and into this season is, now that they're seeing it and they're experiencing it, I think now they're really starting to kind of to get that buy-in that you need. 5 guys in the court, all thinking alike, doing the same thing. Special things can happen, especially with the talent that we have.
Last night you take on a team in the Lorain County, the Amherst Comets. You win 68-66 at the Coliseum. Tell us about last night's ball game.
Yeah, it was a tough game. And we've had 3 games, like you said, we're 3-0 right now. But all 3 have been completely different. Brooklyn played completely different. Norwayne can play completely different. Amherst was our first look at a real strong run and jump, hyper athletic team. And we struggled with it. Coach Bray's got that team playing so well. It's a strong team. They got a ton of talent, ton of athletes, and they run their system extremely well. So we knew it was going to be a challenge going in, and we had to make some halftime adjustments. And we went to halftime, and I just couldn't believe how bad we were playing. It's the worst we played in any practice, scrimmage, game all season. And I looked at the scoreboard as I'm walking down, and I'm like, we're only down 1 point. Like, how is this even possible? Everybody's all into analytics and metrics, and I'm pretty sure we lost every possible metrics in basketball, and we still found a way to win. And that just goes to what you can't put a number on, and that's just grit and resilience and the will and the want to win. And when we needed buckets, we got them, and when we needed stops, we got them. We were able to kind of hold off a lot of their runs. I think they took an 8-point lead on us in the third or fourth quarter, early fourth, end of the third. The guys were able to battle back. And I remember calling a timeout in the fourth quarter when we were down and bringing them in the huddle and making some adjustments. And the look in their faces, it was just, they were so hungry. Like, they all wanted it. They were just locked in. They were ready to go. And I was proud of them, man. I was so proud of those guys to, pack Coliseum like that, as loud as it was and intense as it was, crosstown rival. A lot of these kids know each other. They're friends with them. So there's a lot of pressure on them. So to be able to come out with that kind of pressure and be able to play like they did and come out with a win, I couldn't be happier for them.
Yeah, I feel like I could tell. I was texting with you just to kind of get set up for today. I could feel like I tell a little bit the adrenaline was flowing after the game. I got a text last night kind of right after the game. I was like, see you tomorrow. But what a win. But, you were in the background here when we were talking to North Ridgeville girls basketball coach Amy Esser, and she talked about a packed schedule to start. You don't get much of a break after that. You had to show all the grit, all the fight. You had to fight till the very last second of that game to get a win last night, and you're turning around and playing again tonight as you take on Bellevue. So, talk about the emotional kind of hangover that can come after a big win in front of a packed house on a Friday night where you have to gut it out and win by 2 and then having to turn around the next day and refocus and get your boys ready for a new opponent.
Yeah, it's tough. And the hardest part is the difference in styles. We've had to prep all week for 2 completely different styles. Bellevue is half court, sink in deep, set after set after set after set, very structured, very rigorous. It's going to be a completely different game. They're going to try to slow the pace down on us big time. And that was night and day from Amherst last night. So we've had to our practices have been split into 2 totally different styles. And it's been a tough week for us. But I've talked to the guys, we interviewed all of them at the beginning of the season. We asked them all, what are your goals for the season? Not knowing what to expect. And every single one of them said they want to win. And, it's making sure that they understand winning's not easy. And the more you win, the harder it gets. The more you have a target on your back, the more people are watching you, but then the more work we got to put in. And so we had early morning shoot around today, walking through Bellevue stuff, getting shots up. They're grunting and groaning because they wanted to celebrate last night, but we got their call. It's when we can get in the gym. So, we talked to the guys. Winning's not easy, and wanting to win and that drive to win is not easy. So if you want it, you got to work for it. So we're really testing them, and just the resolve from them and what we're getting is just great.
Coach, you mentioned, Bellevue runs a lot of sets and all that. And I think that's one of those things that, when you go west, I don't care if it's the NOL, the old NOL, the SBC, the Firelands Conference, I'm from that area. And when you go out west, I think they tend to play that way, and they played that way forever. It's just the style of basketball they have. It doesn't make it better or worse. It's just a different style. But isn't it good to see different teams throughout the season with different styles to get you prepared for, whatever you're going to see in the conference and in the postseason? Do you like that you see a lot of different styles of play, especially in your non-conference games, just to expose your team to different ways of playing the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we played Norwayne last week. We've got Bellevue. We have Perkins. I mean, those are 3 teams that run completely different systems compared to our conference with CVCA and Padua. And so you got to see it all. Like, I always say, like, the regular season is just, it's the preseason for the tournament. We're just trying to get ready for that tournament. That's the biggest thing. So if you just play the same teams over and over and over, that's how the upset happens when you play a team like a Bellevue, who is, slow the pace, set after set, highly structured, fundamentals through the roof. Like, you got to see that so you can adjust and be able to play. If you're a one-dimensional team in the game today, that's how the upsets happen. You've got to be multi-dimensional and be able to handle and play different styles of ball for each game. You want the team to be able to beat your style. I get it, but there's got to be minor adjustments we have to make for each team. So,
Coach, I think a lot of times after a big game like last night, we think about how the players react and how they're going to come back. But I'm going to ask you a question personally because it never gets old. The Coliseum, one of the great places to watch a basketball game in all of Northeast Ohio. When it's packed and it's loud, it is wild in there like it was last night. And so, your job is to take care of business and get the boys focused and ready and keep the game going and make adjustments and all that. But when you get a win like last night, and the place is going crazy, you get that first couple minutes by yourself after the game. What are we doing there? What's the feeling there? How long does it take the adrenaline to wear off?
Well, I'm going off about 2 hours of sleep, so if that doesn't tell you when the adrenaline wears off, I'm still feeling it. The first moments I got by myself, I was toweling off because I walked into the locker room and it was just a shower of water bottles. So, the guys were so excited. I mean, they were just thrilled to death. It was a big statement win for us. Amherst is such a good team. They're going to have such a good season. So for us to come out and play like we did was great. But, even coming home, we had, my wife and I had to get to bed, try to get to bed, but we had to set up for St. Nicholas Day for the kids this morning. And we had to wait for them to go to sleep. So I'm running on fumes right now. And then I got to go watch my daughter play in the girls game here in a little bit. My son play at 11. So there's going to be no rest for any of us today. It's going to be a grind, but every time I'm just getting a few seconds of myself, I just, have to pinch myself a little bit. Just, and not only for the Amherst game, but just for how we played against Norwayne, how we played against Brooklyn, how this team is just looking. I mean, this is just a fun group of guys, man. They want it so bad. And I'm just so happy they're able to experience that Coliseum packed to the brim and just as loud as it was, back when I played that's what it looked like every night. So for them to be able to experience that, it's exciting. Happy for them.
Coach, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate you. Good luck tonight against Bellevue.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
And that is Jason Smith, head coach of Elyria Catholic. Before we get to Josh Sharf, we'll take another time out. We'll be back to talk with the boys head coach of the Columbia Raiders right after this. You're watching the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show.
At Nick Abraham Buick GMC, we offer the greatest customer experience around, plus upfront, no haggle pricing and great deals. Right now, lease the 2025 GMC Sierra for just $339 a month. Stop in or shop us at buyabraham.com.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, Cavs radio voice. Recently, we had some trees removed. So again, singing the praises of EcoTree Services. In a few hours, EcoTree had removed the unsightly trees, cleaned the debris, and opened the area for a new fence. I can't say enough good things about the people at EcoTree. I've used them several times, always thrilled with their work. If you have trees that require pruning or need to be removed, contact EcoTree, a local business that deserves your business. They've earned mine. Go to ecotreeservices.com.
And now we're joined by Columbia boys basketball coach Josh Sharf on the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show. Coach, appreciate your time, and congratulations. You get an LC8 win last night against the Wellington Dukes, a close ball game. Tell us about the game last night.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on this morning. It was a hard fall game. It was a really good high school basketball game. Wellington's playing really well. Their size gave us issues last night, and our guys were resilient. They found a way to win. They found a way to get a kill at the end of the game, get one more stop. It's I told them how proud I was after that game. Just the way they battled, they fought. The game wasn't going our way. We didn't play that well offensively, but defensively we got stops when we needed to. And I told them it's a sign of a really maturing team, a really good team when you win a game when you don't play very well. So really happy for the guys. Really proud of the guys from last night.
And I know it's different, obviously with Coach Baker. He's been around, done a great job wherever he's been, Lexington, Avon. He has not been a head coach in quite a while, but for him to come back to Wellington, I'm sure your kids, probably, I don't know how I want to say this, but were they a little bit surprised that Wellington played it as good as they did, because they have been down over the last couple of years? Does it take a little while to get your kids to understand, look, this isn't the Wellington team you've seen the last several seasons?
No, we saw them on film. They looked good against New London. I know they lost that one late, but they're a good team. We knew going into it was going to be a battle. Okay. They got really good size. Coach Baker runs really good stuff. They caught us a few times in some of their screening action. We didn't communicate as well as we need to. So, no, they're playing well. Wellington's playing well. Baker's doing a good job. The staff's doing a great job. So, I think our guys went into it respecting them, knowing it was going to be a battle, and just luckily we made one more play than them.
Coach, just to pull back the curtain a little bit, was texting you yesterday, just try to get prepared. And I said,
Right.
if you win the game against Wellington, if you would join us, and we were trying to get set up, and you said, man, I feel like you're jinxing me. That's what you
Right.
said. I wanted to just start by saying thank you for letting me off the hook. Tell your boys I said thanks. I'll
No
send them all
problem.
Christmas cards this year for letting me off the hook, making sure you weren't getting jinxed by those text messages yesterday.
Right. No, that's all in good fun, absolutely.
Of course it was. Coach, 3 games in, undefeated on the year. And again, just starting to learn, you're trying to instill your philosophy, over the years. You're trying to instill this year's identity for what this team is going to be, but you're also still learning that a little bit. So through 3 games, just more of an overarching theme, but through the first few games that you guys have found ways to win, including, again, a really tough fought win yesterday against Wellington. What are you learning about the identity of your team this year?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, we're still very young in our season. I think yes, they wrapped up the first 2 full weeks that we've all been together. So we're still learning each other. The chemistry's still building. And I think this group, they're going to win a lot of games on the defensive end with our defensive effort, and just get out and transition. And this is a group of really good athletes, some really good basketball players. But more importantly, we're just really athletic this year, and we're quick. So we're changing things this year. To your point, defensively, we're pressuring a lot more. We're trying to trap in a half court. We're gonna, extend it to the full court once we get some more time under our belt and we can practice it. So, we're still learning about each other. But I told the guys it's a lot easier it's a lot more fun to make adjustments after a win than after a loss. So we got exposed a little bit of some things last night that we'll fix. So. Yeah, we're still learning. We're still growing.
You can always count on a coach to talk about defense and bring defense up. And coach, your next game, defense is going to get tested a bit on Tuesday. Another Lorain County League game, but you got Brookside coming up, and it's a Brookside team that just put up 93 points in their game yesterday. And so, just talk about the challenge that Brookside's kind of high flying offense poses for your defense, and what kind of grit they're going to have to play with in order to come away with a win in that game.
Right, we're gonna have to hold them to one shot, and box out. Which has been one of our focuses all off season, is just controlling the glass. We're not as big as we normally are, so we have to do a fundamentally sound job on the board. So, but to your point, Brookside scores a lot of points, and they do it in bunches. You'll look at the scoreboard, it's 8-6. The next thing you know, they're up by 20. So we're going to have to really do a good job of trying to contain them. You can't stop them; they're just too good offensively. But we'll try to contain them, and and I think our guys are looking forward to the challenge of trying to play with those guys. They're a 3-time champs for a reason. So but we've got a really gritty group. We've got a really resilient group of guys in our locker room. So we're looking forward to the test, and and that's one of the games. When you look at the schedule comes out, that's one of the games where you mark. And I mean, to win the league, you got to go through the guys that have won it the last 3. So it'll be a good challenge for us.
I know you're friends. I know you guys coach together. We like to call it the Babbitt's Bowl, and all joking with being at Brookside in Columbia. But Coach, you mentioned earlier in the interview that you're changing the defense a little bit. You're going through some changes. Talk about is that like an off-season decision? Do you kind of look at maybe the strengths of your team and say, you know what, I think we need to play a little different style? What goes into doing that, and how long will it take for the kids to adapt to that, and how receptive were they to making some changes?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think you have to look at your roster and see what style of play fits your players best. It's not always the way you can't always make your team play the way you want to play. You got to make it work for your roster. And this group is really quick, I think. And we started in the off season, when we did our exit interviews last year, talking about how we want to play and where we can put our kids in the best situation to succeed. So this is a style of play that they're excited about. They're buying in because it's a fun style of play. You can get out and run. It's not a grind out half court game like yesterday turned into. It's pressure, get out and run, and it's turning into a track meet. And it's fun, and it's a fun way to coach. It's a fun way to play, and our kids love it. But it's a learning curve too. To your point, we've always been true pack line for the last 4 or 5 years, and now it's teaching them how to gamble the right way, how to pressure the right way. So it's we'll get there, but it's a learning process.
Coach, thanks so much for the time. We'll have that game Tuesday night with you guys over at Brookside. We'll look forward to it. I'll do a pregame interview with you before that, and we look forward to seeing you guys Tuesday over at Brookside.
Appreciate it. Thank you for everything you guys do.
It's our pleasure.
Thanks, Coach.
That is Josh Scharf, the head coach of the Columbia Raiders. We're going to take another time out. When we come back, we're going to hear from Ben Chase, North Ridgeville Rangers. A big week for them. They defeated Brookside on Tuesday, a game we had on WEOL.com. And last night, they go on the road and get a big road win against the Nordonia Knights. We'll hear from Ben Chase, and we'll have that conversation right after this on the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show. We are on WEOL.com.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
This month, get 0% on all 2025 Ford F-150s, including Lightning, regular cabs, super cabs, and Super Duties, plus all Explorers and Escapes.
Stop in or shop us at buyabraham.com.
Lorain County Community College is where you'll lock in your future success. LCCC will get you prepared, get you credentialed, and get you working. Lorain County Community College. Your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cavs. For several years, you've heard me talk about EcoTree Services on WEOL. Recently, I needed trees removed, so of course, I contacted EcoTree. They did an incredible job. The folks at EcoTree were timely, efficient, and the work was flawless. Take it from me. When your trees need attention or even require removal, contact EcoTree Services. Like me, you'll love their work. Find EcoTree Services online at ecotreeservices.com.
And welcome back to the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show. Rob Polinsky along with Michael Keefe. We're joined by Ben Chase, head coach of the North Ridgeville Rangers. Coach, big week for you. We had you Tuesday night. You got a win over Brookside 78-65, and then you bounce back last night. You go on the road, take on a team that, I'll be honest, I don't know very much about, if anything, to be honest with you. You go over to Nordonia to take on the Knights. You get a big road win. I believe that was 58-51. Your thoughts on last night and a big week early in the season for your basketball team with two big wins.
Yeah, always good to go 2-0. That makes practice easier. Everybody's in a good mood. That was great. Awesome week for us. So a little bit about Nordonia. Darren Ford over there, the head coach, he runs a ton of different zones. So we saw a 3-2 zone, a 2-3, a 1-3-1. We had a extended 1-3-1 and 2-3 into the full court. So basically every zone you can imagine we saw. And, the cool thing is our kids really understand our concepts. They have high basketball IQs, and we don't call any sets or plays against that stuff. We just let them go play, and we just rely on our concepts. And they did a great job of that last night.
You mentioned Darren Ford, and I can't remember. Is Gino his dad? Or, I know that's a huge basketball family with Gino Ford. I think Gino is either his dad or
so.
I know it's – yeah, so, obviously Gino knows a thing or two about basketball, one of the top all-time scorers in the state. He's now the head coach in Division I college basketball at Stony Brook, used to be the head coach with the Kent State Golden Flashes. So obviously you went up against a coach that knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, every time, they score a point, their whole staff is, different signal calls, all kinds of stuff for whatever they're in. So it really just took us a little bit to figure out. And, we shot the three pretty well last night. Like, we made really timely shots last night, which is what we need to do against the zone. And then they had to go man late in the fourth quarter because we had a lead, which we love to go against man defense. So we were able to hold on. I mean, it was a tight game all the way through the fourth. So pretty proud of our guys. Battle tested on the road, saw some adversity, and they got it done.
Coach, take it back to the game that Rob was talking about that we had on WEOL earlier in the week, because that's no easy task going up against a very good Brookside Cardinals team as well. It's an offensive powerhouse, really, and you guys looked like you played some pretty good defense in that game. Were able to get some buckets. You came away with a solid win, but talk about the test that Brookside gave you earlier in the week as well.
Yeah, we were surprised how well they shot and how well they executed just in their first game. You never know what you're going to get out of kids' first game of the year, but Larry does a great job over there. I think we're up 3 at half. It was back and forth, and our kids continued to score. We obviously put up 78 points right there. So we expect to win every game that we play if we score 78 points. We're really proud of our offensive output in that game for sure.
Coach, we had to separate you a little bit. We just got done talking with Elyria Catholic head coach Jason Smith, and that's your next game on the schedule in just a couple days. He's got Bellevue, so we didn't get a chance to really ask him about the game coming up with you. But again, that's an Elyria Catholic team that's off to a good start to their season. Seems like pretty much everybody on your schedule are teams that are off to pretty good starts to their season. But just talk about your next game coming up against the Elyria Catholic Panthers and just getting prepared for them.
Yeah, I mean, they pulled off a big win against Amherst last night, and they played Bellevue tonight. I think that win against Amherst may have surprised some people around the area. So, we don't take them lightly. They have two really talented players, Matisse Williams and number 4. I can't remember his name right now, but those kids we played last year, and they're really good. So we're going to make sure that we're locked in against those kids. Home game for us, which we love. So we're excited for it. But yeah, we got to make sure that we have a good couple of days of practice leading up to that.
Ben, kind of following up from Michael's question, just a big overall week for you guys. You get EC, then you get back into league play. You take on one of your rivals in Avon. They're both at home. I would think EC and Avon are both rivalry games. I know it's a long season, but how important of a week is this for your basketball team taking on EC and Avon?
Yeah, I think EC, being a private school really close to us, we've had kids go there, in the past. We've had kids transfer there, transfer back. There's definitely a rivalry with that kind of situation that happens. Unfortunately, Avon game got rescheduled. So Avon is now going to be on December 30th at our place. Obviously they went back to back and won some state championships over there, which is great for them.
I guess I should have remembered that.
That's all right.
Oh, did they?
Oh,
There's
that
nothing,
Avon?
nothing worse than losing a Friday night home game against Avon, though, man. We're disappointed with that because now it's over winter break. We probably are not going to have the atmosphere for the kids that we would normally get, and it's disappointing for both communities, but, it is what it is.
Coach, we've asked you a lot about your opponents this year, but, you've seen your team out on the floor a few times now. And as a coach, you know your kids, you work off-season programs, but I know you spend so much of your time in the offseason just kind of envisioning what you want your team to look like, what you want the identity of your team to be. So just a few games into this year, how is your team mirroring what you envision for them? And where do you feel like they're really exceeding to start this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. We spend an incredible amount of time in the weight room. We have a very athletic team. It's probably one of my most athletic teams I've ever had in my 5 years. Probably the most athletic team, to be honest, across the board. And these kids, again, have such a high IQ, such a smart group. So, like, when I tell them, to do something, or I show them something in practice or at halftime to make quick on-the-fly adjustments, they're able to do it so quick. And that helps us win games. And, we just finished, I think, our 13th practice as a full varsity team this year because the football team went to the Sweet 16. So I still haven't had really 2 full weeks yet with these guys. And, we're just taking it day by day. But I'm really excited for this group. I think they kind of check every box that we need them to check. And, it's just exciting to see their growth, from day to day, week to week right now.
Ben, just following off that last answer, because of the success of your football team this year, and they got further in the playoffs than they ever have. How did that change your approach? Did it take longer? And are you still putting things in that maybe you would have already done? Do you look to other schools that have success in football and maybe talk to their basketball coaches about how they approach that?
I actually haven't, and I definitely need to do that because our football program has gotten to a point where they're very consistent now, and that's something that we're going to continue to run into. The big thing, like we played Gilmore. Our one loss on the season is Gilmore. So, I did not expect them to zone us for 32 minutes, and we were completely unprepared for 32 minutes of zone against them. They are traditionally a full court, man-to-man pressure team. And they stunned us. We didn't have any of our zone stuff in. We had just token stuff in. We didn't even have a baseline out of bounds play. And that's not me, but it also speaks to us having 6 practices before that game. So, I wish we could have seen them a little later, but it is what it is. And, that was a good team. But now that we've had 3 straight games against zone offense, I feel very comfortable with our team and going into any future opponents that do that.
Any rhyme or reason you think to why you've seen so many zone defenses, or is it just the teams that you've happened to play?
I don't know. I mean, Nordonia is a zone program, so that one for sure. Last night we knew going in we were getting zoned for 32 minutes unless it was late and we had to leave. I did not expect Larry at Brookside to zone us at all. He does not do that, and we talked about it after the day after the game too. And he's like, he thought that was their only chance to slow us down a little bit and guard. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, we're very fast paced against man-to-man defense, but we can also shoot the ball at a pretty high level. So, teams I think we're going to see a variety of defenses every game, and teams continue to, just mix and match over quarters. And we'll just have to continue to grind with recognizing that stuff.
Well, Ben, we really appreciate the time. We're going to take a time out. When we come back, we hope to have Kurt Russell with us, and we'll continue with that. But continued success and good luck against DC on Tuesday.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Coach.
That's Ben Chase, head coach of the North Ridgeville Rangers. We'll take this time out. We hope to have Kurt Russell with us when we come back. Again, you're watching and listening to the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show, and we're streaming live on WEOL.com.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
This month, get 0% on all 2025 Ford F-150s, including Lightning, regular cabs, super cabs, and Super Duties, plus all Explorers and Escapes.
Stop in or shop us at buyabraham.com.
Lorain County Community College is where you'll lock in your future success. LCCC will get you prepared, get you credentialed, and get you working. Lorain County Community College. Your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
Fall is the season of change, and when things change in your life, be sure you have the best protection for what matters most to you. At the Cobos Insurance Agency, we're committed to helping you select the best insurance to accommodate the changing needs in your life. That's why Cobos recommends Ohio Mutual Insurance Group. Since 1901, Ohio Mutual has been keeping the promises that secure dreams. Find us online at CobosINS.com. We'd love to help evaluate your insurance needs and recommend the best coverage from the best companies like Ohio Mutual.
And welcome back to the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Show, as Michael and I are broadcasting from the Chronicle Telegram. And again, we're thrilled to be joined on this first basketball edition, or winter sports edition, I should say, of the Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show, again, presented by Nick Abraham. Joining us now, longtime Oberlin head coach, and that is Kurt Russell. And Kurt, first off, my apologies. I thought I had sent, this is my first time too. I just looked down and realized I had the link typed up. I didn't send it to you. That's on me. Thanks for being Johnny on the spot and joining us.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with both of you this morning, and thank you so much for having me.
So tell us about the start of your season. I know you defeated Open Door earlier. You get a big win on the road in the LC8 against a team that I know people are talking about, the Firelands Falcons. You win it 45-44. I imagine you had to be happy with your defensive effort last night.
Oh, most definitely. And we've been excited for our defense the entire season thus far. We played a very good Medina Christian School with a 6'7" kid, and we held them to, I believe, 44 points, held a good Open Door team to around 40 points. And then, like you said, a very, very talented, one of the top echelon schools in our conference, Firelands, to around 43 points. So very excited of how we played defense yesterday. I give my kids so much credit. We was down by maybe 10 points in the third quarter, and we show a lot of resilience to really fight back in that ball game.
What got the game turned around in your favor?
I think it was our defensive pressure. We started the game in a little zone, and my assistant coaches told me we probably should put a little more pressure on their guards, and I think that turned the game around a little bit.
Coach, when I see 45-43 in overtime, that's an overtime game. When I see 45-43, all I think of is that is an old-fashioned slugfest basketball game right there. So you as a coach, and again, you've been there for quite a while at Oberlin, what's Coach's favorite style of game to play in? Do we love playing in the old-fashioned slugfest, knock them down, drag them out basketball games like you played in with Firelands, especially when you win? Let's qualify this by saying, when you win, do you like playing in those games, or do you like playing in the up and down, high flying, get after it basketball games?
You know what? It depends on our team that we have. There's been years in the past where we really wanted to get up and down and score 70, 80 points like Brookside is doing the last few years. With our team this year, we cannot compete scoring 60 and 70 points. We just don't got those type of scores. But we do have some very, very talented defensive players. And so we want to hold teams to 50 or less to give us a shot at being competitive and staying in ball games and winning. And so yesterday was a prime example of that, where it was a slugfest. Like you mentioned, both teams really playing tough defense. And luckily for us, we prevailed.
Coach, this is a question I've asked a lot of the other coaches, and there have been a lot of them so far this morning. It's like running against no huddle offense here, doing the Saturday morning wrap up show. But Coach, as you go through your offseason program, you envision what you want your team to look like. You envision the identity of your team and how you're going to instill that, and you work on that all offseason. But then the games finally start to matter, and they go in the win-loss column, and you see how the identity starts to really take shape with your team. So as you envisioned your team in the offseason, how are they kind of holding up to what you thought your team was going to look like and to what you wanted the identity of your team to be?
I keep repeating myself, but on the defensive end, this is what we imagine our team would be: hard nosed, just going after them. Offensively, we are 2 months behind. I'm not sure if we could continue to win holding teams to 40 points. And so that's something we really have to improve on. We are banking on winter break. We don't have a tournament this year. So we really have like 2 weeks off to really hone in on our offensive side in terms of making sure we are efficient in regards to our sets.
Coach, you mentioned that you're struggling offensively. Do you feel is that something that can get corrected during the regular season, or do you have to get better in the off season with kids? Whether it's AAU or just shooting the ball or playing more, whatever the case may be. Can you get better offensively during a regular season?
It's hard, to be honest. It's really difficult. We use our off season to really develop our skills. And so we are a little behind on that. But I'm confident that with my assistant coaches, we could improve. How drastically, I'm not sure. But I think there's some improvement waiting for us.
But, the old adage is, defense wins championships. And people like to watch offense to buy a ticket, but defense is really how you can win, and it doesn't necessarily take a night off. So, being as strong as you are defensively, that has to give you some hope, and I'm sure the kids' confidence early on in the season. And how rare is it that a defense is as good as yours is this early in the season?
Yes, and like you said, we always preach to our kids that defense travels. And prime example was yesterday where we couldn't make a shot. I think we shot maybe 38, 37% from the field, but we held Fireless to around 38, 37%. And so we really, really practice that. We teach that. We make sure that our kids internalize that. And so it's kind of unique so early on in the season that we are playing this well on the defensive end. Hopefully it will continue.
Coach, again, against kind of a rivalry game against Firelands, as Rob said, a team that some people are talking about to start this year, that overtime defensive slugfest. I don't care whether it's a high-flying offensive game or a defensive game. The adrenaline had to get going a little bit last night as that final horn sounded and your team was at the top of the scoreboard. So did you manage to get any sleep overnight?
Just a little bit. The bus ride home was a little exciting for our boys. But we did mention that, and I don't want to sound arrogant or anything, but we haven't accomplished anything, right? It was one game, and we know that we celebrate for 10 hours or so because we have a game today at 1:30 and 3 o'clock. And so we have to put that behind and we have to move forward. But a great, great victory for us, and we were so excited to be a very, very good Firelands team on their home court.
Coach, talk about that. The quick turnaround taking on, I believe it's Cuyahoga Heights this afternoon. What do you know about the Red Wolves? And just talk about that short turnaround. I'm assuming this is the first doubleheader weekend of the season. You probably don't quite know what to expect when you get into those doubleheader weekends.
Yes, Mike, the coach at Cuyahoga, we pretty good friends, and they beat us last year in the first round of the tournament. It was a great game. I believe we lost by maybe 2 or 3 points. And so they will come out in the zone. They are very aggressive in their zone, got some very, very talented players. So it should be a great game. We told our kids they have to go home last night not play video games or Fortnite, and get some sleep, right? So they got to get some sleep, get some rest for a big game today.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you so much. And, I listened to you because, knowing I had to wake up this morning to get here to do the show with you guys, I did not play video games. I did not play Fortnite. And I was texting back and forth with Michael, getting ready for today. And I even told him, hey, this old guy's got to hit the sack if I'm going to bounce up to wake up because I'm not a morning guy. Coach.
That's called sacrifice, Coach.
Right.
That's sacrifice. But I just want to say, thank you for all that you do for Lorain County basketball and for the Oberlin Phoenix. And we really, really do appreciate all the hard work.
Well, believe me, it's our pleasure, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's Kurt Russell, head coach of the Oberlin Phoenix. We'll take a timeout. We're going to stay in the LC8. We're going to hear from Larry Babbix right after this timeout. You are watching and listening to the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show live from the Chronicle Telegram, and we're on WEOL.com.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
This month, get 0% on all 2025 Ford F-150s, including Lightning, regular cabs, super cabs, and Super Duties, plus all Explorers and Escapes.
Stop in or shop us at buyabraham.com.
Fall is the season of change, and when things change in your life, be sure you have the best protection for what matters most to you. At the Cobos Insurance Agency, we're committed to helping you select the best insurance to accommodate the changing needs in your life. That's why Cobos recommends Ohio Mutual Insurance Group. Since 1901, Ohio Mutual has been keeping the promises that secure dreams. Find us online at CobosINS.com. We'd love to help evaluate your insurance needs and recommend the best coverage from the best companies like Ohio Mutual.
And welcome back to the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show. He's Michael Keefe. I'm Rob Polinsky. The other guy on your screen is Larry Babbix, head coach of the Brookside Cardinals in his fifth season, as his Cardinals bounce back after the season beginning with a loss at North Ridgeville on Tuesday. We had it on WEOL.com. They bounce back in the LC8. They go over to Clearview, get a win there, 93-66 over one of their rivals, and they'll be back home on Tuesday to take on the Columbia Raiders. We'll have that one for you on WEOL.com. Larry, congratulations on your bounce back win. After we saw you Tuesday losing to North Ridgeville, you go to Clearview, you get the win, you put 93 on the board. Tell us about last night.
No, like you said, it was a good game for us last night. We played 7 guys. I thought all of them played extremely well last night. I think we had 4 guys in double figures, 3 guys all had 8 points. So, again, another road test. But, as we talked, Rob, on, pregame the other night, we've tested ourselves, all preseason. We've scrimmaged really, really good teams. Obviously, Ben's got a heck of a team over at North Ridgeville. So it kind of just gets you prepared for league play. And, I think our guys did a really good job understanding, we're in conference now and we got to be totally focused and locked in. And, the kids really played well last night.
Coach, how much do you think the North Ridgeville loss helped you in preparation, for Clearview, to get a game under your belt, to play a quality team like you're talking about, to have the quality scrimmages you had? I'm sure that's all done for a reason. Do you think that preparation helped you with that win last night on the road at Clearview?
Yeah, because, obviously we're friends with, Ben, and, we talked after the game, and like he said, I heard him on the show earlier, he didn't expect us to zone. I mean, we've zoned more in that game than I did in my last 10 years. But we're a zone team now. I mean, the kids like it. And quite honestly, we don't guard well at all man to man. And again, you got to change your ways. Like you got to adapt to what your talent level is. And, guys get excited to play offense for us because we have total freedom. They can shoot the ball anytime. They take a lot of bad shots, but we don't really hold that against them. So if they're going to tell us, hey, we're more comfortable in zone, we like it, and you need to get the best out of your kids. And so far, so good.
Is that how that process went? Did the kids come to you and tell you that they would be more comfortable in a zone?
No, we asked. I mean, I'm the dummy that we've been at this since Halloween, and we're getting chewed up every day in practice by our JVs, every scrimmage, man to man. I talked to a lot of my coaching buddies. I'm like, man, at some point I got to, stop being stubborn and have a zone to change things up. And literally, We watched the Gilmore film against Ridgeville, and we knew we were not going to be able to guard Ridgeville man to man. And we're like, well, we got to try this. So we literally practiced it on Monday. Did our best on Tuesday night, but again, good luck guarding, North Ridgeville with, they got 8 guys that can all score, drive on you, shoot the ball. So, I mean, that's going to be one of the hardest teams to defend, for us all year. So, and then you just ask the kids, like, are you comfortable doing this and stuff? And, even though they're a young group or inexperienced, they're vocal. And I like that. And I thought they've done some really good things this week, communicating on this defense. And, again, this isn't a typical just soft zone. I mean, we want to pressure every pass, pressure every dribble. I mean, you're not scoring 90 points, sitting in back in the old traditional 2-3. I mean, you still got to get out. You still got to trap. And our guys they don't like to play defense. So they don't want to play defense for 30, 40 seconds. I don't want to watch them play defense for 30 or 40 seconds because they're going to get beat anyway. So if you're going to get beat early in the process.
Coach, it's an interesting, you guys have had really good success there at Brookside. And again, everybody does talk about the offense, but, it's an interesting lesson. And I wonder how hard it is for you sometimes to step back and say, hey, listen, I've done things and they've resulted in success over the year, but I got to do something different. There's a lot of coaches that would not do that would not say, hey, well, I'm going to change up the way I do that. Did it take you any amount of time to come to that decision? Or was it like, listen, we have to do this. There's no option. Is that a lesson for you moving forward too, on just like being kind of a chameleon and adapting to what you've got?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to just kind of adapt to your kids. Like, yeah, I love to, be able to run and gun. And we've been very fortunate here and in our days in Columbia to have a lot of talented guys that can score the ball. I mean, if we get to that point where you got, one guy that can kind of handle it, one guy that can score, we're going to have to win games, 45-44. But it's a style that I enjoy watching. My kids enjoy playing. And again, we're not going to be in a slow down zone. We're going to trap you. We're going to get after you in it. And you gotta trust your kids. They're the ones that are playing, man. I'm 54 years old. I haven't played basketball and I wasn't very good at it when I did do it. So they're out there having to get through everything and see everything. So you have to rely on them. And, and the ultimate, thing is that they want to win. So they want to put themselves in the best position to win, and they're comfortable. They understand what their shortcomings are right now. And, they want to put themselves in the best position to, continue our success.
Larry, I've always heard coaches say one of the tough parts of playing zone defense, though, is to get defensive rebounds, to find a guy, block him out, keep him off the offensive glass. I didn't keep offensive rebounds, as a team stat on Tuesday, but I know Ridgeville had quite a few second looks. How big a concern is that? And since you haven't played much of that in the past, how much are you going to have to work on that, and how difficult is it? Can you just talk about the challenge of trying to get rebounds when you are running a 2-3 zone?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a challenge, but regardless if you're zone or man, I mean, rebounding is just an effort thing. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. You got to get a body on guys. You got to want to rebound. And, whether you're man, you're zone, yeah, it might be a little bit harder in zone, but like our big problem is we want to score so much. We do a lot of staring and expect the guy that's close to the rim to grab the rebound. But long shots are long rebounds. So if your guards don't come back in and rebound, you're going to get killed on the boards. But, this year with Mason and Ethan, especially, they're 6'5", 6'4". They got great size, so they clean up a lot of stuff. They do a good job. They're fairly physical. We got other guys that are physical that aren't the biggest guys in the world. So, and again, when you got to give the other teams credit. Miller kid is just a stud. I mean, he's different. You don't see those kids every night. In games, Deacon Delgado, he's a great player, for Clearview last night. But I think we did a pretty good job on him trying to keep him off the boards. But it's always going to be a challenge. Anything on the defensive end, it's a challenge for us. It's just what it is, and if we want to beat good teams, we're going to have to continue to get better on that end. And I think we will. It's a slow process. We're, here in 11, we're going to just watch our film, show them what, done a little bit better. And, hopefully we just see the improvement all year. And, but like I said, Dan, I like this group. It's a good group. We're going to get Jay Coleman back here in another week or two. So, 7's tough, for us. We're usually playing 9, 10, and to just kind of have two guys that constantly rotates a little, you get a little nervous with fouls, stuff like that. So getting Jake back, because none of our little guards was a smart kid. It's going to help us a little bit more with some depth and, take some burden off our other guys who are playing a lot of minutes right now.
Coach, last question for you here, but you brought up Columbia, and that's the next team on the schedule, a team obviously you're very familiar with. Coach Scharf has them off to a really great start on the season. They're playing good, solid basketball. So just talk about your next game coming up Tuesday against your old home, the Columbia Raiders.
Yeah, no, Josh is doing a great job with those guys. They're 3-0. Again, young team. They shoot it very, very well. They have a great point guard in Mengi. Again, it's a team that you can't slack off any guys. They remind me of a North Ridgeville, not maybe the size of a Ridgeville, but with shooting all around. So they're going to really stretch our defense out. And obviously me and Josh talk a lot, and he knows our team better than anybody. So, and we kind of feel like that. The other way, but in the end the kids will decide it. We're excited. It's a good rivalry for both teams. A lot of mutual respect. It's a good basketball team coming in, and we have to be ready. And I think our kids enjoy the challenge. I'm sure their kids will be ready to play us. And in this league and the expectations of we've all seen what Keystone's already off to. So I mean, you can't afford to lose many games if you want a chance to win this conference. So like every game's a big game, and it doesn't matter if it's game 2 in the conference or it's game 10. So this is a huge game for us.
Coach, I'll end it with this. After a win, the next morning, how's the oatmeal? I mean, do you do anything special with the oatmeal on a day after a win? And tell us about the oatmeal this morning.
Yeah, I had to skip out on it, Rob, because
No way.
I have no technology. So I lost more sleep about doing this thing than I do any game I have, because I'm like, I'm going to screw this up. I'm not going to be able to get this camera on. They're not going to be able to hear me. There's going to be no Wi-Fi. So because of you, I did not eat breakfast this morning.
Wow.
Wow. I feel bad now. And let me say this, Coach, I didn't do this. I didn't sell the radio station. I didn't go to this new format. Now, I will tell you, we're getting I'm getting texts from other coaches saying, we love how you do this, but you can't throw that all on me. Believe it or not, I didn't have anything to do with it. But please have some oatmeal after this. Relax. You did great. And I think you even deserve, if you want to, chop up some bananas or raspberries or whatever you do to make your oatmeal special.
No worries, man. Appreciate everything you guys do, and thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure. The one and only Larry Babbix. He eats oatmeal every day. Now I feel terrible that he was stressing out doing this. He was stressing out. What do you think kept me up last night? I didn't know about this either. I had been a guest with the guys in the fall, had never co-hosted. So, Larry, like you, I didn't have oatmeal either this morning, but I probably wouldn't have anyway. But hey, let's go to Jeff Holzhauer. He is going to be our final guest this morning. He is the head coach of the Keystone Wildcats. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. What
was for breakfast this morning, Jeff?
I'm afraid to ask now.
I got my coffee. That's about it. I haven't eaten anything yet. The guys are next door watching film with Coach Whitaker and Coach Elliott, and I brought them a bunch of donuts and chocolate milk. So if there's anything left over, I'll go grab it.
There probably won't be, but yeah, Babbix is a big oatmeal guy, if you didn't know that. So if you ever need to know how to get your oatmeal done, Larry is the expert. Coach, you go on the road last night, you take on the Black River Pirates, you get a big win, 85-51, obviously a good all-around performance from your basketball team. Tell us what you can about last night.
Well, first of all, I want to give some props to Coach Dak and the Black River kids. I thought they played extremely hard. And it was my first time meeting Kyle. He seems like a good guy. I think Rob Clerico over there, the athletic director, did a good job finding a good guy for that position. And I wish him the best of luck I was impressed with their kids. I like a lot of those kids. I think they have good guard play. I think their two big kids are big and physical and do a lot of really nice things for them. So I think that's the team that can really make some noise in our league this year. But last night was just, the pressure that we were able to put on them. I just think it was a lot for them at this point in the season. But I expect them to be a lot better the next time around. But I was real happy with just our overall effort. But we did a great job using our athleticism, our speed, our length to create a lot of problems and create some easy scoring opportunities for our guys.
When you talk about scoring, what a 1-2 punch you have last night. Looking at it, Liam Gorin with 33, Colt Cowling 28. Those two guys combined for 61 points. Talk about just the offensive performance of those two, and then obviously somebody was getting them the basketball as well to score 61 between those two.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about those two all last year, and I'm going to talk about them all this year. They're great kids. They have that uncommon combination of work ethic and love for the game of basketball with athleticism. So they have some God-given abilities, but they've taken those God-given abilities and really got the best out of them with their hard work on just improving their speed and their size and their strength. And also they're basketball junkies. So what they do in the gym, inside of practice and outside of practice, is phenomenal. And it pays dividends on Fridays and Saturdays and Tuesdays where we get to go watch them do what they love to do. So they were fantastic. And our other guys, like you said, they did a great job. We shared the ball a little bit better last night. Our assist numbers were really, really high. The ball moved better than it has. So that's kind of what we've been working on. And it starts with those two. They could dribble down the court and take a shot every possession and make a lot of them. But they did a good job getting their teammates involved.
Coach, how much easier does that make your job as a head coach when you've got two players that aren't just talented and aren't just good, but are junkies that are in the gym, that are putting in the extra work when it's your top players that are the ones that are putting in the hardest work? What kind of example is that setting for the rest of the team, and how are you seeing it from a coach's perspective kind of trickle down to the rest of the guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was from day one with both of them. I still remember Liam as a freshman and Colt as a freshman, where the older guys kind of looking like, what are these guys all about? And it did not take long for either one to be accepted as a big time player in our program, because it's obvious and people just see it. They see that work ethic. So, you hope for that trickle down effect, that it affects everybody else. And I think it really does. So that's something that we have going for us. But everyone just thinks it's easy coaching good players, but when you're not used to coaching good players, what we do offensively is just way different than what we've done in the past. So it makes you evolve as a coach when you have those types of players. So it's the scoreboard looks good a lot, but sometimes it's not always easy for the coaching staff to figure out how to best utilize that type of talent.
Coach, again, early in the year, it's you've only had a couple chances to see your guys actually on the court in games that matter. You've won both of your games to start the year. You got another one today against Western Reserve, but it sounds like offensively things going really well for you. But when you envision your team and you envision the identity of what your Keystone team is going to look like this year, where do you feel like you've got the early looks and the returns are promising that is what you wanted the team to look like? And are there any areas where you're kind of early on being able to identify going, all right, that's an area we're going to have to work on to get to where we ultimately want to be?
Yeah, I tell our guys all the time, I don't want to be a program that, when we're shooting well, we're really good. But if we're not shooting well, we're in trouble. So our identity at Keystone has always been to be tough, be physical, guard the ball, be aggressive, create turnovers, create easy scoring opportunities. So that is what I want our identity to be. It hasn't always been that so far this year. So I always think that, when the ball's going in the basket, it covers up a lot of mistakes. But when it's not going in the basket, like, what are you doing? What are you doing to win the game? And, what we've always done at Keystone is we've guarded and we've played unselfish basketball and we've rebounded. So that will always keep you in the game when offensively things aren't going
Oh, we lose Jeff?
Yeah, we lost him. He must have. Let me see if we can get him back on there.
Well, that's all right. I'm going to take him over here.
Can you do that? You know,
Yep,
you know how to do this stuff?
You know what we'll do is we'll take a really quick break here on the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show, and hopefully we can get Coach Holzhauer back in during the break. We'll be right back right here on WEOL.com.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
This month, get 0% on all 2025 Ford F-150s, including Lightning, regular cabs, super cabs, and Super Duties, plus all Explorers and Escapes.
Stop in or shop us at buyabraham.com.
Hey, look at that. He's back. That's a way to
back.
make an exit right there.
All right. That's an Irish exit there, Jeff. Hey, early on in the year, you got a huge win over the DeFranco against a real quality Olmsted Falls team in a defensive, kind of battle in front of kind of a tournament atmosphere at a neutral site against a quality opponent. How big was it for your program to get a win over a team like Falls? And does that give you and your kids confidence in any non-conference game against any foe you might run into this year?
Uh-oh.
We lost him again. What's going on?
Uh-oh. Little technical difficulties. That's all right.
Is that us?
Oh, wait, we can hear him. Jeff, if you can talk. We can hear you.
You guys there?
Yeah,
Yes.
we got you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Did you get
Did
the
you guys
question?
hear
Or
me?
you need
I
me?
lost you guys.
Yeah, we got you. We got you, Coach. Can you hear me? Coach, can you hear us? We've got you. Jeff, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, we got you, Jeff. Are you there?
That's right. It's right now, Coach, a little technical difficulties. He's muting. He's unmuting.
I'm sorry, Rob. I hope that
we-
you guys can hear me.
We got you.
Okay. I can't hear you guys, but that's fine. Yeah, Coach Delisio over at Olmsted Falls, fantastic job. So, I mean, that's a game that we were really excited to play, and I have so much respect for his program and what they do on a yearly basis. So to come out of there with a win, that made us feel so good about, where our program is right now, and kind of the direction that we want to go this year. And we have a similar opponent tonight. I have a ton of respect for Chris Sheldon over at Western Reserve. And it's a similar type of style of play where you got players that can really put it on the floor and they want to spread you out and they want to shoot. So I told our guys just in film a few minutes ago that, tonight is real similar to that Olmsted Falls game. It's obviously a smaller program, but they do a lot of great things just like Olmsted Falls does on a yearly basis. And a lot of people out this direction don't know a lot about West Reserve, but we play them every year. And it's always a great matchup for us. And also something else I wanted to make sure I said, we got a great young man, Liam Gorin, who is 11 points away from 1,000. So I'm a little worried about telling Coach Sheldon that tonight because I think things could get a little spicy with his physicality and how he's going to try to guard Liam. And that's going to give him a little bit more ammo with his kids to try to keep them under that. But really a special feat for a kid who's just starting his junior year to be where he's at right now. And, I have so many great things to say about Liam and what he's done for himself and our program. And I hope tonight's a really special night for him. And I hope he can do his thing, which I know he will. And then I hope it will also lead to a victory for Keystone.
Well, Coach, can you hear us? You got it? Okay, we're going to let you go since you can't hear us. But best of luck tonight. Thanks. And again, that's Jeff Holzhauer. And for the listeners who don't know, he talks about Chris Sheldon, longtime coach at Western Reserve High School. They have been the cream of the crop on the Fire Islands Conference since Chris has been there. Probably been about 20 years, if not more. His father, Rob Sheldon, longtime coach in the Elyria High School Sports Hall of Fame. Rob, longtime coach at Bucyrus Winford. So Chris comes from a line of coaches. His brother has been an excellent high school basketball coach in Crawford County at both Bucyrus High School. Now he's at Colonel Crawford. And anytime Western Reserve and Keystone gets together, that's a great non-conference basketball game. So good luck and congratulations to Liam Gorham, whether he gets it tonight or in the near future. He's going to get to 1,000 points, and he ain't stopping there,
He's
Michael.
getting it. He's getting
He's
it.
getting it
Defend
tonight.
it all you want.
All
He's
right.
getting it.
All right. We're going to take this final break. Michael and I will wrap up the wrap-up show right after this.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
This month, get 0% on all 2025 Ford F-150s, including Lightning, regular cabs, super cabs, and Super Duties, plus all Explorers and Escapes.
Stop in or shop us at buyabraham.com.
Lorain County Community College is where you'll lock in your future success. LCCC will get you prepared, get you credentialed, and get you working. Lorain County Community College. Your goals, your career, your future. Enroll today.
High school football in Lorain County is all about tradition, pride, and community, and that's what Stewart's Appliance is built on. For generations, Stewart's has been the family-owned appliance store you can count on for quality products and personal service. From refrigerators to washers, ovens to dishwashers, Stewart's has what you need to keep your home running. Proud to support Lorain County and proud to support high school sports. Stewart's Appliance, where community comes first.
Hi, Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cavs. For several years, you've heard me talk about Eco-Tree Services on WEOL. Recently, I needed trees removed, so of course, I contacted Eco-Tree. They did an incredible job. The folks at Eco-Tree were timely, efficient, and the work was flawless. Take it from me. When your trees need attention or even require removal, contact Eco-Tree Services. Like me, you'll love their work. Find Eco-Tree Services online at ecotreeservices.com. Fall is the season of change, and when things change in your life, be sure you have the best protection for what matters most to you. At the Cobos Insurance Agency, we're committed to helping you select the best insurance to accommodate the changing needs in your life. That's why Cobos recommends Ohio Mutual Insurance Group. Since 1901, Ohio Mutual has been keeping the promises that secure dreams. Find us online at CobosINS.com. We'd love to help evaluate your insurance needs and recommend the best coverage from the best companies like Ohio Mutual.
And welcome back to the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show. Ron Polinsky and Michael Keefe. And again, we'll have wrap-up shows every Saturday morning now through early March. So again, the winter edition of the Nick Abraham Saturday Morning Sports Wrap-Up Show in full gear. And we'll be here every Saturday from 9 to 11. And so you're going to want to pay attention to that. Thanks to all the coaches today who came on. Michael, thanks to you. First time you and I had a chance to do this. And again, this show's up to the coaches, and they, make or break it. And thankfully to all of them for joining us. Let's go through some scores from last night. If you're just joining us and you missed them, here are some scores in boys basketball from last night. It was Keystone over Black River, 85-51. Elyria Catholic better than Amherst, 68-66. Columbia in a squeaker over Wellington, 47-45. In overtime, it was Oberlin, one better than Firelands, 45-44. Brookside blitz Clearview, 93-66. Men are all over Lorain, 90-63. And the St. Paul Flyers defeated Open Door, 75-56.
Continuing on, Gilmore took out Avon Lake 69-50. North Ridgeville, a big win over Nordonia, 58-51. Over in Medina County, the Battling Bees of Medina take down Shaker 66-58. The Buckeye Bucks defeat Bay 71-57. Brunswick takes down Euclid 71-59. And the last game in boys basketball, Brooklyn takes down Cloverleaf 68-59. We did have a couple games in the girls basketball scene as well last night. Again, that big one that we talked about earlier on, North Ridgeville over Midview, 58-56. What a game that was. Vermilion gets a win, 58-40 over Edison. And the final game last night, Medina takes down Shaker in girls basketball, 65-15.
And again, this is state championship football weekend down at Tom Benson Stadium at the Hall of Fame. And want to remind you of those scores. Thursday night, of course, Avon Eagles, back-to-back state champs. They beat Anderson for the second consecutive year, 37-20. Yesterday, it was Glenville over Shelby, 45-7. Watterson over Toledo Central Catholic, 30-0. And Olentangy Orange, 28. St. X, 14 today in championship football. Got underway just about a half hour ago in D7. St. Henry taking on Hillsdale. 3 o'clock this afternoon in D6. The Kirtland Hornets going for their 8th title with head coach Tiger Laverty taking on Hopewell Loudon. And tonight at 7:30 in Division 5, 2 undefeated schools, Wheelersburg battling with Liberty Center. And I know we've got more basketball. I can let you know the first one is today because I've got it over at Elyria High. It'll be Lorain at Elyria. It's the Pioneers 3-0 home opener taking on the 0-2 Lorain Titans. and the battle border there between Lorain and Elyria. That is a 5 o'clock start. They are going to go freshman at 2:30, followed by the JV, followed by the varsity. So if you're heading to Elyria today for the Elyria-Lorain game, note that it is a 2:30 freshman game, followed by JV, varsity. They're hoping to get that varsity tipped off right around 5 o'clock this afternoon. We'll have it for you if you can't make it on WEOL.com.
Also, just to give you the schedule for the rest of the week, if you want to tune into all the games, Tuesday, it is Columbia and Brookside. We talked to both coaches today. Should be a great basketball game between two very good teams. Then Friday, we're going to have another boys basketball game as Avon Lake travels over to Midview. Again, should be another very good one there. And we will wrap up this week's coverage of basketball with girls basketball on Saturday. It'll be Wellington at Brookside, and it's all happening on WEOL.
Well, Michael, great to be with you. Had a lot of fun this morning, and thanks to all the coaches once again for joining us. Let's let you know that the Nick Abraham Saturday Sports Wrap-Up Show is brought to you by Nick Abraham Buick GMC and Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, Route 57 and East Broad Street right here in Elyria. Lorain County Community College, real education for good jobs. Cobos Insurance Center, your Ohio Mutual Insurance Group agent. Stewart's TV and Appliance, 468 Cleveland Street in Elyria. And by Eco Tree Services, your complete tree care company. For Michael Keefe, this is Rob Polinsky saying, have a good weekend, everybody.
At Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, we make it that easy.
This month, get 0% on all 2025 Ford F-150s, including Lightning, regular cabs, super cabs, and Super Duties, plus all Explorers and Escapes.
Stop in or shop us at buyabraham.com.